The beast that devoured armies bowed its head when the human held out food. The Zarathi warships darkened the sky above New Geneva, their crimson hulls gleaming like fresh wounds against the pale morning clouds. Admiral Kethavar watched from his flagship's command deck as the orbital bombardment reduced the human settlement to smoldering ruins within minutes. This was the 17th world they had claimed this cycle, and like all the others, it would fall before the might of the Zarathi Empire. But then the reports began flooding in. "Admiral," his communications officer hissed, mandibles clicking nervously. "Ground forces report an anomaly." Kethavar's four eyes narrowed. "Explain." "The Devourer, sir. It's not responding to commands." The Admiral's blood ran cold. The Devourer was their ultimate weapon, a genetically engineered monstrosity the size of a city block, with armored hide that could deflect plasma cannons and jaws capable of crushing battle cruisers. It had single-handedly consumed the armies of 12 different species. The beast knew only hunger and destruction, responding solely to the neural control implants the Zarathi had embedded in its brainstem. "Show me," Kethavar commanded. The main display flickered to life, revealing the massive crater where New Geneva had stood. At its center, the Devourer loomed like a mountain of black chitin and pulsing red veins. Its 6 legs, each thicker than ancient trees, should have been carrying it forward to complete the planetary cleansing. Instead, the creature sat motionless, its massive head, a grotesque fusion of shark and insect, lowered toward the ground. And standing before it was a human. "Magnify," the Admiral ordered, his voice barely a whisper. The image zoomed in, revealing details that made no sense. The human appeared to be a young female, her clothing singed and torn from the bombardment. In her hands, she held something small, a ration pack perhaps, or emergency food supplies. She was speaking to the Devourer, though the words were lost to the vacuum of space. "Sir," the tactical officer reported, "the creature's neural implants are functioning normally. All control systems show green, but it's not responding to any commands." Kethavar watched in fascination and growing dread as the human took a step closer to the beast. The Devourer's massive head followed her movement, but there was something different in its posture. The killing machine that had terrorized entire star systems was waiting. The human opened the package in her hands and extended it toward the creature's head. For a moment that seemed to stretch across eternity, neither moved. Then, with impossible gentleness, the Devourer's massive tongue, designed to strip flesh from bone, emerged and delicately took the offering. "By the void," someone whispered on the bridge. The transformation was immediate and profound. The red neural pathways visible through the Devourer's translucent skin began to shift, pulsing with new colors, blues and purples that their scientists had never seen in any of their biological weapons. The creature's posture changed, its massive form settling into what could only be described as contentment. "Admiral," the communications officer's voice cracked with panic. "I'm receiving a transmission from the planet's surface. It's coming from the human. Put it through." A young voice filled the bridge, speaking in heavily accented Galactic Standard. "Hello up there. I think your big friend here was just hungry. And maybe a little lonely." The bridge fell silent except for the hum of life support systems. Kethavar found his voice first. "Human, you stand before a weapon of mass destruction. You should be dead." "Yeah, probably," the human replied with unsettling casualness. "But she's not really a weapon, is she? Look at her neural structure. I can see it glowing through her skin. She's intelligent, sapient. You've been torturing her with those control implants, forcing her to kill when all she wanted was companionship." Kethavar's tactical display suddenly erupted with warnings. The Devourer was moving, but not in any pattern their behavioral models predicted. Instead of rampaging through the ruins, the creature was playing. It rolled onto its back like some impossibly massive pet, allowing the tiny human to scratch its armored belly. "This is impossible," Kethavar muttered. "The conditioning protocols, the genetic modifications, you can condition behavior," the human interrupted, somehow having overheard him. "But you can't condition away the need for connection. Every intelligent species needs it, even your war monsters. The Admiral watched his ultimate weapon, the terror of 17 worlds, purring like some giant cat as the human continued to feed it pieces of her rations. The sound resonated through the planet's atmosphere, a deep thrumming that their sensors registered as something they had never encountered before. Contentment. "Sir," his science officer reported with barely controlled, "the creature's stress hormones have dropped to nearly undetectable levels. Its brain activity suggests happiness." "Run full scans on the human," Kethavar ordered. "What makes her special? What genetic modifications? What technology?" The results came back within minutes, and they were more terrifying than any weapon the Zarathi had ever faced. "She's baseline human, sir. No modifications, no implants, no special technology. She's completely ordinary." Kethavar stared at the display as the human continued her impossible interaction with their most fearsome weapon. She was singing now, some soft melody in her native language, and the devourer was responding with gentle rumbles of approval. "If one ordinary human can do this," he whispered to himself, "what could their entire species accomplish?" The question hung in the air like a death sentence. The Zarathi Empire had built itself on fear, on the belief that only superior force could maintain order in the galaxy. But here was a demonstration of power that rendered their entire philosophy obsolete. The simple, devastating power of compassion. "Admiral," his communications officer said quietly, "Fleet Command is requesting our status report." Kethavar looked at his officers, then back at the impossible scene below. The human had somehow convinced the devourer to lie down, and she was now resting against its massive head, both of them basking in the alien sun. "Tell Fleet Command," he said slowly, "that we have encountered something unprecedented. Tell them that perhaps it is time the Zarathi Empire learned a different way." On the planet's surface, Dr. Sarah Chen, xenobiologist, survivor, and now unlikely diplomat, continued to hum softly to her new friend. She didn't know that her simple act of kindness had just changed the course of galactic history. She only knew that everyone, even monsters, deserved a little love.